How's it, guys?
Away, how's it? Away.
How's it? Hope you guys are all doing well in internet land. Another Sunday here in lockdown here in South Africa. Today we actually joined with two very elusive guests. You might not really see them on social media, short of their activity. But we're joined today with lead vocalist and guitarist of Thread of Omen, local melodic thrash group from Cape Town. Welcome, Vic. Welcome, Stian. How's it going?
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, glad we could kind of pull you guys out into, showing a little bit of face to the public.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As usual, joined with my awesome co-host, Alec. How things in Joburg today, man?
Oh, they're good, bro. I've had seen some friends for the first time since like lockdown, basically. So had a couple of beers, and I'm also rocking my Metal for Africa Winterfest shirt.
Oh, right.
So representing.
Yeah, got mine also. Just got it in the mail, Korea. Thank you, Patrick. You're a legend.
But yeah, everything's good. Good my side.
Yeah, like I said, glad that we could actually pull this off. To any of the international guests we have, as you guys might not know, we deal with a lot of load shedding. So happy that this actually worked out and we're not all in the dark. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a while since we've seen you guys. It's been a while since we've seen the Thread of Omen guys blasting a stage. Obviously, you guys were, I believe, just playing at Ramfest before this whole COVID thing hit. So yeah. How things been in the Thread of Omen camp? How things going?
Pretty stagnant, because of this whole COVID thing. I mean, I still remembered when we did the show, there were still rumors, being said about everything is going to go into lockdown. And I mean, I've never been in a lockdown before, so I kind of just shrugged it off. And then a week later, it happened, It's everything. It felt like everything just froze in time. And now it's getting back to some form of normality. So yeah, we've had a bit of a hiatus, basically, like a bit of a break. But we recently had our first band practice again, and we still got it.
Yeah.
So
need some work.
Yeah. Need some Q20 here and there, but we'll get back into it properly.
Killer. Well, I mean, I guess that kind of leads me into the first question. I mean, obviously, you guys just said you guys are back in action. You guys actually have a gig coming up, which will be an online streaming gig that'll be shot at the Armchair Theatre, I believe, end of the month.
Yes, it's,
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Yeah, what brought the motivation to take this?
We've never done something like this before, so it's going to be quite interesting. We used to play for a crowd, and now we're going to play for a bunch of cameras, so it's going to be an interesting experience. It's on the 25th of September at Armchair at about 7 o'clock. And it's called Showlive. The showlive.coza is the website that you can visit. I think it's like $30 a ticket. So yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, we'll include a link in the description below so that people can go click. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite a great show. I mean, one of your other guitarists, Matthew, was recently involved in a whole little live stream there, and it looks killer with the ambience and the backdrop there. So I think people are going to be they're going to be quite entertained. But in terms of the show,
sorry,
I was going to say, I was going to say though, the whole set list that you guys kind of had in mind. What can people expect?
We're playing mostly in our recent live shows. We've been playing songs mostly from the EP we released at the beginning of the year, and we've got a few old songs. We've got one or two songs that we're playing from the first album we released, and then one or two songs from our second album. But we're still focusing mostly on the newer stuff, which we think it's getting a good reception. And we still just really enjoy playing it. It's always, it's weird, like you sort of, as a band, you grow sort of tired of your older songs. Even though some people still enjoy hearing it at a show, you play it so often that you get a bit bored of it. But so our newer stuff, we find it's nice playing it, and it really gets people into the show. So yeah.
Sick. I think this is a good sort of segue into my first question, like talking about, how like the audience is a very big part of the show, and now you guys are going to do this show in front of basically cameras. Besides the show coming up, what is your like best local show that you've ever had? Like local though.
If I think of one immediately, it was when we first started the band in 2012 or 2013? 13. We opened up for Metal for Africa, and nobody really knew who we were, but we at that stage we prepped properly and we played a really tight show. So we received, the people really liked the show. So it was a nice kickoff for the band, because we just came to open up, and we opened up a can of whoop ass. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously that kind of works kind of with what I wanted to ask. I mean, that first album, Palace of the Father, it's it still has strains of the original elements now in Confined Reality. But in terms of tracks that you guys like to perform live, what have been the tracks you guys actually enjoy? Obviously Victor as a vocalist and Stian as a guitarist. What are your guys' tracks that you have been enjoying jamming the most live?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I feel like the song Confined Reality from the new EP is it's probably one of my favorite songs to play live. There's a lot of times where we're trying to use just sort of interesting time signatures, and it just makes it a very fun thing to play. On the guitar itself, and I think it always gets a good reception. There are those types of moments that work well live, where slight pauses and things where you find the crowd really reacts to that. So that's from the newer stuff, and then on the older album, songs like Haunted Forest, which I think is just great. It always gets a good reception. There are some songs from the early album that I sort of wish we could bring back a bit more.
Yeah.
I think we sort of got out of playing it because we felt it wasn't complex enough, but we're getting back to actually trying to use stuff that's more simple because simplicity can have its own sort of special aspects to it that we sort of maybe were trying to be too technical with. But yeah, so that's for me. I don't know about
I also really enjoy performing Confined Reality because of the odd timing signatures, and I put a lot of heart and soul into the lyrical aspects of that song. And then there's another song that also from the new EP that I enjoy is Augmented. We always get the crowd quite rolled up with that song. And then if I have to think about the older stuff, probably a song, Exodus Through the Land of the Dead from Palace of the Fathers. It's just got like a really cool riff that runs, and it's like solid melodic death vibe. So that was a lot of fun to perform back in the days. We haven't performed that song in a long time.
We need to get that one.
No, we actually maybe should start playing it again. Yeah.
Sweet. I remember a couple of years back, you guys went to Romania, and I don't know if you've had a chance to talk about that experience and like the shenanigans you guys got up to. I don't know if you want to share each of your experiences with that.
Yeah, Romania was an eye opener in the sense of how much metal is out there in the rest of the world. The whole festival experience. Like I've been to, Lyle would also know about this, but the more electronic kind of festivals are big in Cape Town, like your trance parties and stuff like that. And going to Romania and having that same experience, but with the metal scene was amazing, because there's so many. Like there were, dude, how many people were there? Like 15,000 or
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. Okay.
That's a small festival.
It's a small festival, but there were a lot of people there, man, and it was just jovial. It was surreal almost, and the setting as well. We were in the Transylvanian forest, so it was just surrounded by forest and this fucking metal blasting everywhere and metalheads everywhere, having a jolly good time. It was one of the highlights of my life. Definitely. Yeah.
It's a dream to get that here in Cape Town. If we can get anything like an obscene extreme where you have the craziness of the electronic festivals with some powerful metal, man, it'd be a step in the right direction for sure. But yeah, I guess kind of like sidelining a little bit, going a little bit to the left, talking a little bit creative. I guess a lot of people know that Victor, you're not very prominent online regarding the band, with the exception of the social media regarding the band, because you're actually, in fact, one of the more prominent dot artists in the Western Cape as far as tattooing goes. But more so you're also one of the prominent, if not the designer of the Thread of Omen artwork that you guys have been putting out. Moving forward with the band, are you going to keep maintaining that hands-on effect with the artwork, or would you ever look into an international designer to go with a theme or something?
Well, you want to, like, I would say, I mean, it depends, man. It depends if the band digs the stuff that I'm going to be creating in the future. Perhaps we can use it, though. There's like with something I've noticed with metal album artists, there's like eras where there's like a themed kind of almost like a preset that a lot of bands use, like super illustrated, super colorful, or from the death metal times, it was like grotesque kind of stuff. And but like you get certain bands. I know another band that does Gojira likes to do their own album art as well, and they've got their own little vibe to it. So we'd maybe keep that kind of spirit alive with our stuff as well, and just continue like doing hand-drawn stuff, and
and also worth adding that like nothing Victor's done for us has ever been like a commission or something. It's just sort of the art that he's been doing at the time, and something that he just did, and it sort of felt that it was appropriate for when we were releasing things. So it's very spontaneous, and it's not like he sat down like, yeah, how am I going to do this? Confined Reality. It's just like something he just done, and maybe it sort of fit into the lyrics and stuff. That he's obviously also been working on.
Having that whole skull, cap with the brains, and I'm like, Confined Reality. That kind of works. Yeah, let's use this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely it gives you guys a bit of a unique image, in a time when there are a lot of bands coming out constantly. It's hard to have a unique image, and what better image than the image created from your hand and your brain? So,
Yeah, man. There's obviously a sense of memetics that gets taken on, as things are more interconnected with the internet and everything. Like the music industry is also just like, there's so many subgenres now, and avant-garde kind of stuff that's coming out as well, and different niche subgenre scenes, and it's just the exponentiality is getting more and more and more. So it is kind of difficult to stand out in the crowd, so to speak, if there's with so much creatives having this platform now to express themselves.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that you can actually create the artwork for your band, because you've written the lyrics, the vision of what you're going for, and because with all the stuff that I'm involved in, I have to obviously contract that stuff out, and like it's very difficult to convey that to somebody else.
I can imagine.
But you've got the artistic talent to be able to actually take a vision and bring it into fruition. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's a unique thing to have.
Yeah,
it's another little. It comes in helpful. I mean, and it looks good on merchandise, as we've seen, which will include the Teespring link to some Thread of Omen. Just a little bit of a plug there. Sorry. let's get back to.
I've asked you guys about like Romania and whatnot, and I also asked you about your best like local show. I was wondering what your opinions about like the local South African metal scene is at the moment, and also like I mean that view might be different to what it was before lockdown. You know, obviously at the moment it's very difficult to like sort of quantify that sort of thing. So maybe even like a pre-lockdown view of the metal scene and like politics or whatever, you know, just like go for it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think in any sort of developing industry, there is a lot of politics, and there's a lot of cliques or several cliques that develop, and there's that type of behavior. But we've never really let ourselves be bothered by it. And we found a lot of people that have been incredibly supportive in the industry. Patrick is one of them. Yeah. You know, there have been a few of those types of people who really look for not the image, but they really look at the type of music which is being made. And that's not us trying to sort of blow our own horns. That's just saying that, you know, people who focus on the same things that we focus on, which we've never been an image band. We still don't, I think, have a proper band photo, even after we've been going since 2013.
That's so true. We don't.
So, you know, the scene has developed a lot since we started. I remember in high school, like going to the type of gigs I used to go to, and there were like, you know, 10 people, but 10 people really enjoying themselves. And now I find there's more people, and sometimes you see people are not there because they're actually enjoying the music. So I suppose, you know, as the scene is going to be developing, it's going to keep changing, but there's definitely a lot of positive aspects that we can take from it. And I mean, the fact that there's so many different genres and so many really talented musicians is something that's quite inspirational in South Africa.
Yeah, I actually want to add to that. You know, I remember when I was in high school, like the metal scene, there was quite a spike in the South African or in the Cape Town scene. There was quite a lot of people going to live shows and stuff, but the bands at that stage weren't really on the par that the bands are at this moment, but the scene has kind of gotten a bit smaller, which is an interesting dynamic. But just from what I saw at the last Ramfest, that was really cool, because I mean that was a proper festival feeling. And okay, we had a big name like the Black Dahlia Murder to pull in a crowd, because I know there's people in South Africa that listen to metal, but you don't see them in the local scenes as much as when I went to go watch Flesh God Apocalypse. I was like, holy shit, are there this many people in Cape Town that listen to this band? And there was like 500 people there, and I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, I think if a lot of the local people who are listening to metal actually knew what there was available now to listen to, that they'd come and watch more bands play, because there's really talented bands, you know, performing live these days. So, yeah.
I think,
well, I mean, that's what we've been kind of trying to do, like kind of bring all of you guys together and, you know, kind of showcase it.
Yeah, I think the big travesty you mentioned, like early metal, well, like a couple of years ago, like when you were in high school, like the bands not being of caliber, I think like that has had like quite a big negative impact. Like I remember getting CDs of like, I'm not going to name drop, but like certain older death metal bands, and like you could hear the guys haven't played to a click, like the like production is like way off, but it's what we could get as South Africans. So like you have that like SA pride, and I think for a lot of people that like is not enough. Like a lot of people are still equating like South African metal with that era, where like I think if they heard what's coming out now through like the labels like Lyle and I Run, it's just amazing, like the quality that's coming out now.
Chalk and cheese. I mean, I guess this kind of works with the next question I have, because this is all about exposure. Alec and I have spoken, I think, every week about a PR agency and the use of having somebody behind you. You guys had Plush PR, local PR agency, pushing the Confined Reality release. How was the whole experience for people that have never worked with anybody in public relations? How was the whole experience dealing with them and all the promo and all of that came with it?
It was very interesting. It was very different, and yeah, definitely got us a lot of attention that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. I mean, especially international attention. I mean, that's the sort of, I think, the big question for a South African band is how do you get any international attention without that type of thing? And you know, we were very fortunate with, especially with Palace of the Fathers. For some reason, I think just because that sort of fell into that, it had a bit of that sort of Gothenburg mellow death type sound to it. That, you know, we got a lot of attention from overseas people with that release. And I mean, not formally, informally, you know, people are sending us messages, just emails to our account saying, you know, that we really love this album, we really appreciate it, or Facebook messages.
We had this random guy called Unknown Mellow Death on YouTube put one of our songs up, and it got quite a lot of hits, and like we didn't even put that on there, you know. So that was quite cool.
But I mean, getting that on a formal level, as in being in magazines, being on websites and stuff, it's a difficult thing to get going. Once you've got that train going, then I think it sort of runs itself to a certain extent, but to actually get that initiated is very difficult. So yeah, it really helped us. I mean, you know, it really sort of gave us a little bit of a push.
Sweet. As before we started recording, we had a little bit of a chat, preamble, whatnot, and I mentioned that like Joburg local metal shows are like sort of starting, but like very, very low key, under the very underground, as metal usually is. Is that something that's, I know you guys have lost a ton of venues in Cape Town, like with Mercury now closing and whatnot. Is that something that's happening now in Cape Town? Are you guys having like now that like restrictions have like eased off a little bit, are you guys actually having like, are bands playing live shows to audiences yet?
I haven't seen anything yet.
I haven't heard of anything. The only opportunity is this sort of armchair live type setup which we're doing. That's the only thing I've heard of. I don't know if some people are maybe doing small shows, but if they are doing it, it's escaped us.
Yeah.
I actually did hear from Dolph of Holver. He was involved in another band, and they played out by Gordon's Bay, obviously a much wider open area for a little pub jaw with like tip jar and all of that, and people were actually paying. Well, apparently they made what they usually would have made at a standard concert. So people, cool. Perhaps the public are willing to actually support. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I actually went through to an event out by Trenchtown, a little gothic get together, and luckily the cyber goths last night, they're all very well aware about social distancing and wearing a mask, so that wasn't really an issue. But yeah, I mean, I think Cape Town is going to take a bit of time. I think a lot of the guys have been concerned with doing events that won't be able to run later than 9 p.m. So we'll have to wait and see. But there are guys that are amped. It's just whether or not who's going to bite the bullet. I think in the meantime, it's about you guys representing and showing face and doing these live shows, you know, giving people like who are stuck at home, social distancing themselves, you know, giving them some entertainment. So, yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, kind of leading into what will probably be one of the last questions before we round up things for the night. Like I said, you guys are the two founding members of Thread of Omen, but you do have a couple of band members that delve into other projects, and it kind of brings in a different influence, I'm sure, when it comes to writing new music. As far as like talking the Thread of Omen camp goes for the future, what can listeners expect from the next EP or album that you guys are probably conceptualizing?
Yeah, well, we'll see where it goes. I mean, we sort of thinking of maybe taking a short break to see how things are going to work out now after this armchair show.
Yeah.
It was really good. I mean, the practice we had this last week was one of the first we've had in months, and I think we all, really enjoyed it. And before that, we were getting a little bit tired of things. You put in a lot of effort for years, and it sort of feels like sometimes, I think everyone in the South African scene sometimes feels like things are a bit of on a going nowhere type of thing. But it's been really good to play again. So we'll see how things work out. We do have some new material that's already been sort of slightly put together, which is sort of experimenting again with taking Confined Reality's direction and sort of adding a few influences. And I mean, me and Victor are basically listening to a lot of like weird jazz and progressive stuff these days. So maybe including some of those elements, but it's a bit up in the air at the moment. But we'd obviously, we'd love to keep doing this. And what we'd really love would be opportunities to do some more overseas stuff. That's what we'd grab any day if we get the opportunity to do that again.
Yeah, and we have been in discussion with a few Asia agents and stuff. So we'll wait to see what happens. But again, I think this is kind of key that you guys were on and giving your honest opinion tonight, because we've had a lot of guests on recently, and we've always spoken about those few bands that require that chemistry of being able to perform together, to get motivated, to write music again. So it's good that we could actually have two of the guys from Thread on tonight and actually, show that not everything is all hunky-dory all the time. You do hit lull periods, but you keep trying to stay motivated and move forward, So yeah. I guess that's kind of all we can hope from you guys, just keeping motivated and keeping those new tunes and keeping that motivation going.
Yeah, I mean, well, the whole history of our band, we've had some like, as most bands have, is you have some kinks to work out. We had members leaving, members coming and going, and then there's a new element to the band, and the dynamics change a bit, and it was this process until we found like all the right members to produce our finest work, which is, I believe, is the latest EP that we've released. We can take things further from there, as we spending more time with the newer members and progressing with the music, that we can create something, a bit more like we have most certainly started taking on a bit of more of a progressive element to the music. Like, you can still hear our sound. We've got a sound that we have, but we've been experimenting a lot, like doing stuff a bit more techy than melodic, but then also doing like jazzy timing signatures and, just messing around and trying to create like a unique kind of sound, unique story to tell with our music.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys are one of the few mellow death that add a progressive time signatures. So we need you guys to keep going. I love this idea. And again, for anybody that hasn't heard, by some cardinal sin, if you haven't heard Confined Reality, we'll include a link to that, including both the other previous album and EPs. And yeah, we'll probably be tuning in the next few weeks. I'm hoping I can schmooze the Thread of Omen guys into getting me a live pass to come enjoy the show at Armchair, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, that's gonna happen, dude. That's happening.
It better. I don't want to pull the label manager card here. Like, seriously. But yeah, again, Stian, Victor, thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been such a killer catch up. Hopefully we can all get together in the near future. Like I said, you guys will be having your live stream on the 25th. We'll include the link for peeps to go buy tickets. It's 30 Rand. The Confined Reality is 50 Rand, available on iTunes, Amazon. Go have a listen. It's on Bandcamp as well. We'll include all those links. And yeah, next week we're going to have a mega announcement that'll be made on the MMD page. And yeah, for that reason, we won't be announcing the guest this week, but It's going to be a big one. Alec is ready. I'm ready. So yeah, hopefully you guys are as well. And again, yes, keep following, keep supporting local metal. Yep. You guys, Stian, Vic, Alec, thanks again. Thank you
Thanks,
for
guys.
everybody
Appreciate
that
it.
tuned in. We'll catch you guys next Sunday.
Awesome.
Man.
Cheers, Alec. Cheers, Lyle.
Cheers.